Welcome to Wholesale Hotline. I'm Brent Daniels.
I'm Jamil Damji.
And I'm Jerry Norton.
And I'm Pace Morby.
Every week we bring you the best information on real estate investing.
Be sure to participate in the comments.
And subscribe.
Wholesale Hotline!
Welcome back to Wholesale Hotline number 286. My name is Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, Mr. Talk to People, and I am here with a flipping genius. You know him, you love him. He has the most exotic and extensive hat collection you'll ever see. It is, of course, my man, Jerry Norton. How are you, bud?
Doing awesome. How are you, Brent?
Awesome. So you've got a bunch of projects going on. You've got a lot of irons in the fire right now of actual deals that you're developing, wholesaling, flipping, all those type of things. So walk me through, Jerry. I think people would be interested to know kind of what it looks like from your like your perspective and your like daily schedule. How does that look? Because you are in Tennessee and these deals are all over the country. So how does that happen, and how do you trust people enough to get things done to where you don't have to micromanage them?
Great question. I mean, I'm still feel like I'm trying to figure that out every single day, but you know, that's the point, I think, is you try to figure out how to stay out of the weeds and stay up at the high levels. And you know, sometimes I'm great at it. Sometimes I get sucked down in the weeds. And so it's just a constant battle now, but you have to be always focusing on staying up out of the day-to-day operations as a business leader, as a entrepreneur, because the business will take everything. It will suck everything. Your team, your resources, in my case, students, everybody, employees, they all want your attention. And so I have to be constantly intentional and strategic about that. Like I have to say no to a lot of meetings. I have to question a lot of things. I have to tell team members, no, you got to be on that meeting, or I'm not going to be on that meeting. You know, you got to empower people. You have to take risk with people. I mean, I'm like anybody. I have turnover and I have people work out. Some people don't work out. And, but if you're not constantly trying to stay in the owner's box and making a very intentional effort to do so, then you never will. And you'll always stay down in the weeds, and you'll never develop and scale and grow if you're in the weeds, you know? So you have to learn to say no a lot to things, right?
Yep. And so is it just, are you just really good at finding talent over the years? You know, because if you don't have, you know, certain people that, you know, batteries come included, so to speak, right? You don't have to get them excited. You don't have to lead them in that sense. They're going to do the work anyway. They enjoy the work. They enjoy success. They're winners, right? They just naturally want to win. How do you find those people, and how do you make sure that they're making enough to where it's worth it to work with you as opposed to just doing it themselves? Because I think that's the slippery slope in real estate, right? Mm-hmm. We bring somebody on, we show them everything that's going on, and they're like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll just start my own company.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a fear. And you know, I worry about that a little bit, but not as much as most people do. Most people fear that if I bring on really good talent, they'll learn the ropes and they'll leave me high and dry and they'll go do it themselves. And certainly that happens, and that can be the case. But, and if that does happen, you know, I can't really fault that, you know, like if someone wants to go on and do their own thing, I mean, I want to do my own thing, and high skill people might want to go do their own thing. And so I sort of endorse it. Like if you're ever wanting to go out on your own, come sit down and talk to me. Let me help you, you know, replace whatever you're doing within my organization. Don't leave me hanging, you know, but help me train the next guy. But if you want to go out, you know, all the power to you. How can I support you? How can I be a partner with you in that, or do business with you that way, or whatever it might be? So I think if you embrace that, it becomes less of I don't really create competition if you kind of embrace and endorse that some people might want to stretch out and go further than you have to offer them. Having said that though, Brent, you know, I think a lot of people that are high talent people, they want to be in an organization where they have unlimited ability. Like there's no ceiling on what they can do, but yet
Yep.
there's still some really good guardrails. They don't have to worry about some of the things like accounting or lead gen or whatever it might be. And they just want to rock and roll. And so you have to create sort of that opportunity for them and help them catch that vision. So I call it vision casting. You know, I'm constantly vision casting with my team and my high skill talent. Like, I've got to sit down with them often and say, you know, this is where we're going. This is the vision we have. And you can be on this train and you can help us get there. And it's going to be amazing. And here's why I think it is. And I feel like, you know, the high skilled people, they sort of see that. They don't need convinced. If I feel like I'm convincing people to be excited about what we're doing, they're probably not the right person, because really skilled people, they don't need you to motivate them. They bring the passion. They're passionate from the get-go. They just need a really good model to jump into, and they're off to the races is kind of what I've found.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I've had the same crew. I've had Jeremy, Jackie, Ryan, Chad, and now Joshua. Joshua's just about at his 2-year mark, but I've had the other 4 since 2020. So this is 5 years. And now Jeremy, who sold a lot of my properties and has just done a great job. He wants to do something for himself. He just wants, he wants to see, he's like a creative guy. You know what I mean? And he's had the last couple of years, he's been talking about it and kind of not warning me about it, but just being open about it. And I think that that's what, like, people that are really committed to your business, they're going to let you know. There's going to be signs typically that you know, they want to try something out, or they want to investigate some other path in life. And I think that that's really, really, really beneficial if you are leaving that door open for them to have those honest conversations. If you're trying to, like, you know, push people to work for you, and that's the nuance, right, Jerry? It's the work for you, not with you type of thing. Now, with you is a little bit nuanced because, Jerry, you're not out there swinging a hammer anymore. You're not out there, you know, laying tile. You're not out there doing these things. Neither am I. So yeah, there are people that are doing the job out there and answering the calls and going on the appointments and pre-qualifying and all that. But I think if you build a really nice culture, people want to stay there. And if you pay them more than anybody else to do this job, they're going to stay around for a long time.
Yeah,
Right?
It's interesting. One of the things, like when I'm interviewing somebody or considering somebody, is I always look at their attitude about what they were doing. And that tells me a lot about somebody. I just met over the weekend somebody in a sales position. And I said, what was it like, you know, with your previous this and that? And it was, you know, a 10-minute full-on launch about how they didn't appreciate him and this and that, and they're this. And so it was a lot of negative complaining about the previous, you know, employer. And more than likely, if they're complaining a lot about where they just came from, they're going to complain a lot with you too. They're just complainers.
Yep.
And I have no room on my team. And, you know, there isn't this constant, like, we need to have these team meetings and rah everybody. I don't have a corporate office. We don't get everybody together. There's no water cooler conversations. If you've got drama happening at home, you better leave it at home and show up to work, because we just don't have a place for it. There's no environment for it, and it just doesn't fit. So, like, I don't do high drama. You know what I mean? Everyone does their job. Everyone works hard, and everyone gets paid well. But you got to, like, bring that to with me, because I just don't have any room for it. You know?
Yeah, I heard Hermosi say that complaining is the lowest form of agency, right? And if you,
I like that.
And I've really played into that, and I've mentioned this before on the show, but agency is huge. Agency raising kids, agency with the people in your team, agency with yourself, right? That's the control that you have, right?
Yeah.
That you understand that nobody else is to blame for the circumstances or whatever. It is all on you. That's the agency. But the beautiful thing is, everything that you accomplish is part of, because of the actions that you're taking. You know what I mean?
Are where you
get to have pride in that.
Yeah, you are where you are today, good or bad, from your own choices, your own mindset, all you. There is, honestly, guys, if there's an ounce of victim mindset that you're bringing to this, you need to clean that up right now. Stop blaming someone else for where you're at today and take massive ownership. You know, with that interview I did, if he would have said to me, you know what? It was awesome. I learned this and this and this, and I had this opportunity. I would have never had that opportunity had I not been in that place. You know, I feel like I've hit my ceiling and I want to do more. I want to do bigger. You know, if it was more like that type of conversation, then I would have looked at things a whole lot differently, but it wasn't. It was more like I've been wronged in some way, or I wasn't treated right in some way. And maybe those things are true. You know, maybe you were mistreated, but like, what is your attitude about why you're talking to me now? And what are you doing now differently than what you were doing that you're going to bring to my company, my organization? You know, like that's what the focus should be on, I think, you know?
Yep. 100%. Well, we got some questions, guys. Jerry and I love the questions. It makes this 90 minutes so valuable that you are able to, if you're dealing with a challenge, if you've got something that's being thrown at you, maybe you're new, maybe there's something that you just don't understand about the process of buying and selling or signing deals or whatever it is, make sure that you put it into the chat so that we can answer it over the next, 79 minutes. So here's the first one. And I want to hit this first because I think it's really important and a lot of confusion. If you're not in Texas, this still might apply to you because it's a really interesting precedent for other states to go in and implement, I think maybe not fairly easy, but easier than it was for Texas. Can we talk about cold calling in Texas? Sean H. asks. So what I'd like to do, Jerry, is I'd like you to play the attorney general or the, I want you to play somebody that's in some sort of power in Texas. And I'll play a real estate entrepreneur. And we'll play this both sides because it's in my feeds, it's in your feeds, it's in the private Facebook groups, it's all over the place. So I think that this is really important. So if you'll please announce the what happened in Texas, Jerry, and I'll argue on behalf of these beautiful renegade entrepreneurs.
Yeah, and by the way, I did a YouTube video breaking this down like I always do with regulation, and then I had to do a part 2.
Yep.
Because I got a lot of backlash from people, claiming differently. And so what's happened here too, Brent, is there's a lot of confusion around this because of the federal case that happened in Arizona recently with TCPA.
Yep.
So the TCPA rule, which was a federal ruling regarding telemarketing, they ruled in that court case that if we're calling and offering to buy, we're not soliciting because we're not offering to sell something.
Yep.
Okay. Now, I love that ruling. I mean, we're in real estate and that we call and talk to sellers. Like that's what we want to hear. That was like a huge win for wholesale real estate when that federal case came out. Now, what everybody has to understand here is federal TCPA is different than Texas Code of Commerce. They're two totally different things. And one doesn't supersede the other. One is about TCPA at a federal level. The other one is Texas ruling and how they're looking at solicitations in Texas. So first of all, you can't just say because one happened over here, that automatically means that's how it applies over here. And I think that's what's caused a lot of this confusion. And then we had some prominent people kind of running with that narrative. Now, the other thing that's sort of odd about this one is Texas already had cold calling as a solicitation in their code. And we've been cold calling in Texas forever and we never heard of litigation or anything. So it's sort of like, oh, well, it's been happening. And so what's the big deal now? Obviously it must not apply to us because no one's been getting busted, right? But there's a couple things here that you have to understand here. SB 140, they updated and they added some things here. They added texting. So clearly what they're saying is look, we're sort of now going to take this serious and we're sort of now going to redefine what this is. And we're going to make sure that we're including text in this. And that's not even the main thing. The biggest thing of all with this is they handed the enforcement over to the litigators because now it went to the Texas Deceptive Trade Practices Act. It's called DTPA. Now, what that means is it means consumers can litigate. You don't have to wait for the attorney general to litigate. Consumers can now hire attorneys and litigate at the consumer level, which means, I mean, think about this, guys. This opens the door to all the ambulance chasers. So, and the fines are $5,000 per occurrence. Plus, there's treble damages, which triples it. There's attorney fees and so on. So the Texas literally said, hey, we're sort of updating this. We're including texting. And by the way, we're now going to let this fall under deceptive trade practice, and we're going to allow litigators to go after this law and litigate this law. So to me, that changes all of it. Like, that just changes everything, that now the enforcement of this and the lawsuits around this are super easy to do.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter because it's not solicitation, and I'm right and they're wrong. And it's obvious that it's not solicitation because the TCPA in Arizona said it's not solicitation. So I could just throw that in their face and it'll be done. No problem.
And you're making an offer. You're not selling anything, so it doesn't count. I'm making
an offer. This is not a service. I'm there to make an offer. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Well, here's the thing. It does not carve out wholesalers or real estate investors or real estate agents. It doesn't say if you randomly call somebody and you're offering something to buy, to sell, whatever, it doesn't say, oh, well, in that case, you're carved out. You're allowed to call and offer to buy property. That's a carve out. It doesn't have that. Nowhere does it have that. So when people say, oh, well, I'm offering to buy something, I'm not offering to sell something, I know that sounds great. TCPA, a court case, ruled that, but Texas didn't say that's how they're looking at it. They're saying if you're a salesperson, you offer to sell something or an item could clearly be defined as a purchase agreement is an item, right? Like, it's crazy to say, well, because of XYZ, I'm good and I'm going to cold call. You're really going to cold call and text with a $5,000 per occurrence fine that could land on your lap by an ambulance chasing lawyer? You're really going to do that? I don't understand why we're even arguing this. It has to be no until somebody does it. They get sued for millions of dollars, which is going to be probably a big fish, a big wholesaler doing big campaigns. It's probably going to be, that's the example, right? And then it goes through the court process and they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars fighting whoever this wholesaler is that's going to take one for the team, spends hundreds of thousands of dollars fighting this court case to maybe win, maybe not win. Who's going to raise their hand and do that? I'm not. I mean, why would I risk that? Why would you, Brent, risk that? Why would anybody risk that?
I think it's important to understand this, guys. So there are attorneys. This is their business model. Okay. Their business model is to look out for new regulations that hit. Then they look for complaints that come in the door from the general public. And it could be one call, it could be 10 calls, it could be 100 calls. And then what they can do is they go, oh my gosh, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go after them and we're going to sue them and we're going to get a bunch of money. And you, person that complained, that's living out there in the community, you're going to get 10 to 20% of whatever we can get out of these guys. Okay?
No cost for you.
No cost for you. You don't even have to pay me up front. I'm going to just file this paperwork, boom, send it in. We're going to go and we're going to squeeze them, and we're going to squeeze them as aggressively as possible so they settle. Guys, it doesn't matter if you're in the right here. You have to understand this. If you are in the right, you are still going to, on average, Jerry, $30,000. That's what it's going to cost you for an attorney. Okay. And that's if you fight it out for the next 18 months and you don't settle ever. Now, you never know what's going to happen if there is some settlement there, but that's 18 months of this hanging over your head, sapping up some of your attention. And oh, by the way, if you continue to keep doing it, get in line. There's going to be more and more and more lawsuits, guys. 60% increase in these type of lawsuits. I'm sorry, 160% increase in these type of lawsuits over the last few years. 60% in all lawsuits in general, guys. When the economy shrinks, when inflation goes bananas, when all of the COVID money gets out there and all of that, and everything's pulled back, this is where the attorneys go to work. This is their time.
And what they do,
This
Brent,
is
is they actually run ads and they advertise to homeowners that aren't paying attention to what these laws are. They don't know. And they're running ads saying, are you getting unsolicited calls? We can win you hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Bro,
Hire us.
You could go into Facebook. You
Yeah.
could go to Facebook right now. There's hundreds of thousands of people in private Facebook groups teaching everybody how to do this.
Yeah.
There are attorneys that set up Facebook groups that are like, are you getting spam calls?
Yeah.
I am telling you, it is everywhere. I'm the TTP guy. You know what I mean? I'm the pick up the phone and be proactive and go after it. My suggestion, if you're in Texas, call real estate agents, make offers on listed properties, get some inbound leads, whether it's from direct mail or whether it's Facebook ads or something else. But I'm just telling you, if you haven't caught a lawsuit, you're gonna have to deposit 10 to 20,000 right away with an attorney to start defending you.
Just to
and
defend
it goes,
I mean, my last
$300 to $1,000 an hour
or more. You know, my last lawsuit I was in, my attorney, Brent, you know what I'm talking about because I've talked to you about it. $25,000 retainer before they'll even do one thing. You know, $25,000 retainer, and you better believe when you pay a $25,000 retainer for a lawyer, they're going to spend every dime of that before you're done.
Yeah.
Right. So like I see some comments in here, Brent, like, well, what if I'm a small fish and I just do a little bit? You know, the way this works typically is they're going to send you a demand threat letter. And what they typically do is they'll say, pay us $5,000 and we'll go away. Right. Yep. Now, if you're a big fish, they may try to go all the way and see if they can get money out of you. But it's mostly settling is what these lawyers try to do. They threaten you and they want you to settle for whatever. And they're just collecting fees. Yeah.
It's a shakedown. It is a stone cold shakedown, guys. And you're just putting yourself you're throwing your hat into the arena if you're going to continue to cold call. They're obviously telling you, hey, listen, there's nuance here, but we don't want you calling people in Texas. That's what they're saying. I don't know if it's because of the real estate industry. I don't know if it's because of realtors. I don't know if it's because of wholesalers. I don't know if it's because of other industries. I don't know what it is, but guys, just listen to people that have gone through this and understand the model has changed. Can you go out and risk it? Absolutely. Can you go out there and say, I don't care, I know that I'm right? Great. Go for it. I highly suggest you don't.
Yeah, fine. Prove me wrong. Go for it. You know what I mean? Like, what do I care? I'm just telling you, like, here, and people are like, Jerry's saying wholesaling's dead. I never said wholesaling's dead. I said, here's what they're doing in Texas around cold calling and texting. Here's what you can and can't do. Because you can still do it. You just got to follow all these rules now and get registered and get a bond and, you know, have an opt-out and quiet hours and all these things. Like, you can still do it. Here's what's really going to happen here, Brent. This is what I think really is going to happen. When you eliminate cold calling out of the wholesale real estate model, you've just taken away a very low-cost form of lead gen. You've taken that away. That's all you've done. You've taken it away. You've made it harder. You've created more friction into the industry. What do you think, though, the players are going to do? What do you think the real businesses are going to do? They're going to adapt. They're going to move to inbound marketing. They're going to get registered and follow all the rules. It's actually a win if you're willing to step up and invest more into the business. If you're looking for the cheapest form of marketing and you want to keep cold calling and you're willing to risk fines and lawsuits, go ahead. I don't care. Go ahead and keep cold calling and texting in Texas. But don't be surprised when lawyers are educating consumers about this law and all they got to do is pass you on to that lawyer and that lawyer's on you. And now you're defending yourself or paying fines or settlements, right? Like, that's it. That's the end of that. To me, that's the end. Why are we even having this conversation? If you think it's okay, the smart thing would be, I'm going to wait. I'm going to let somebody get sued and create case law. Then I'll have case law to back me and precedents around it. And then I'll go forward. Until then, there's nothing that says, there's no carve out that says you're excluded. There's nothing you can say that says you're excluded from this.
Yeah, it'll never get that far because people will settle.
Yeah, most people will settle.
People will settle. You'll spend 30 grand on an attorney. You'll settle so it doesn't you don't have to keep spending money on the attorney. And the other attorneys, by the way, are on their own clock. Nobody's paying them. They're doing it themselves. They could drag it out forever and ever and ever and ever.
Deposition.
And if there's active lawsuits against your company,
I saw a comment in here that said, state law doesn't supersede federal law. And I think what people are saying is they're saying, well, the federal ruling supersedes any kind of state level law. But guys, you're mixing up two completely different things. There's a federal agency called TCPA. It's a federal thing, and they have their own rules around telemarketing. Texas has their own code of conduct for business and deceptive practice. So one doesn't supersede the other. They're two totally different things. And you can't override the Texas law with a state federal agency, right? That's going to apply at the federal level with the TCPA. It doesn't mean, though, that Texas can't have their own law around what they call solicitations and how they enforce it.
Listen,
that's just how that works.
They don't care. They want to shake you down because you go on Instagram and you post your checks. And listen, I get it. I was there. I was, you go out there and you talk, or you do interviews, or you do podcasts, or you do these other things, and you talk about how much you make. It's a target on your back if you're making cold calls in Texas. I'm just telling you. I am just telling you. They will find a way to try to squeeze you. And you can be 100% right. And you can fight them and you can potentially win. I don't know. It depends on the judge. It depends on how far you take it. But most of them never end up in court because they go back and they string you along forever. And you've got emails going back and forth with attorneys. You're spending money all the time on these attorneys. Every email, every conversation.
Brent, if someone's willing, let's say that I was willing to, and I'm like, no, I want to prove this right because I love cold calling so much that I'm going to invest several $100,000 and sue Texas that maybe I'll win, maybe I won't, so that I can continue to cold call? No. Why would I do that? Why wouldn't I just move to inbound marketing or something else that's going to keep me from hundreds of thousands in legal fees and years in court? Like who would do that?
Yep.
It makes absolutely no sense to me. And you know what's interesting, Brent, is like I put this stuff out, this week, and I put some content out of it. I can't tell you how many comments I've gotten that are like, here's a comment I got, and this is indicative of what's going on out there. I had a guy say, good. I am so sick of wholesalers calling me about a rental I bought 30 days ago. So what's happening there? It's an absentee owner on TropWire or on a list, and that person's getting hammered with calls. Now think about homeowners getting the same exact thing over and over and over again. Do you think they care? Do you think this law is supposed to be like, oh, well, you're bombarding me with calls, but since you're offering to buy, not offering to sell, I guess that's not a solicitation and I'm not bothered by it. No, they're bothered by it and they're offended by it and they're creating laws around this. Like they're just cracking down on it and it makes sense. Now that Arizona case, I don't know that guy. Apparently Pace does. And they have super deep pockets and they were willing to spend, hundreds of thousands, whatever they were able to willing to spend to I don't know. But is anybody else willing to do that? Well,
so and now, but now it's, this is Texas saying, hey, knock it off.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying. They're saying, knock it off. Stop making calls and trying to, what the way that it's broken down. I get it. If you're trying to get investment or if you're trying to sell something or all that stuff, those guys, the attorneys don't care, guys. They don't care. They're going to. And I would look at
this. If you're in Texas and you wholesale in Texas, I would look at this not as like a negative thing. They're ruining it. Poor me. I would look at it like this is a massive opportunity now.
Huge.
Go get registered and follow the rules, and you can still cold call. Now you have way less competition. Just follow the rules. It's extra friction. I get it. But now you get to stand above the rest or move over to inbound marketing. You have less competition. Do you know how much better inbound marketing is going to work now in Texas? Like you're going to kill it with inbound marketing because all the cold calling is going to go away. You know what I mean? Or door knocking or these other approaches that aren't solicitations. You're going to do so much better. And ultimately the sellers are the ones that suffer because there's less competition, which means you're going to buy deeper. Sellers are going to get less for their house. It doesn't help the seller. None of this helps the seller. It empowers the investor. It empowers the real, well-capitalized, high-functioning, real business owners that are in wholesale real estate. Hurts the brand new guy that doesn't have a budget. Hurts that guy, which sucks. I get it. That sucks. But like now that just means step it up in Texas. That's all. And kill it.
Steve makes a great point. Isn't it interesting, Jerry, that they put laws around phone prospecting, except
political.
when it comes to political ads and fundraising? Isn't that wild?
Yeah, they don't have to follow it at all. Isn't that crazy?
No. Well, the same with bandit signs, right?
Yeah.
Same with bandit signs. Interesting.
Yeah,
So, guys, that's our rant. We'll let you deal with. I mean, we'll let you, talk to an attorney, talk to the people that in Texas, see what's going on. But I would, if you're balling out in Texas and you built it all from cold calling, and you think it's because, I got this call center somewhere, it doesn't matter. Oh, I've got this layer of layer. It doesn't matter.
No, because you're the benefactor. So it doesn't matter if it's an agency or whatever. It's going to come back onto you because you're the one that's getting the benefit from the call. And I see Matthew Pryor's comment there, trying to hurt the wholesaler. Guys, remember, this was not a wholesaling law. This is a business solicitation. This is a solicitation. This applies to everybody, every industry. There were no carve-outs. It wasn't directed. It was a broadly passed law that applies to all solicitations. No matter what you're doing, if it's a solicitation and falls under that category, then you're subject to all of this.
Awesome. All right, we'll pivot. Here we go. Zayed asks, happy Monday. Quick question. How do I deal with tore down properties? How do I wholesale? I come across a lot of them.
Yeah,
basically a vacant lot.
Yeah, lot value. I mean, if it's a tear down, you probably want to look at lot value and then add in also a demo fee. I've done a lot of demos for new construction, and I typically budget anywhere from $25,000 to $35,000 to tear it down, dig out the footings, retire the utilities, and get it back to a lot. So look up lot comps, add in the tear down, and then you might have a deal that's the lot value.
Yeah, typically what I look at, Syed, is I look at what is the highest sale in the neighborhood. I also look at is it a normal shaped lot? God, that took me a while to get out. Is it a normal shaped lot? Because awkward lots just don't sell. They're really tough. The way that you have to build on the lot makes it less desirable. So make sure that it's a normal lot. Okay. And I usually go 10% of what the highest sale of the neighborhood is. So if the neighbors sold for 400,000, or if there's a new house, that's even better. If a new house is built and it's sold for $1 million, I like to be around 10%. So 100,000 for that. And then, sell it over to a builder from there. So those are good rules of thumb there. Now, if you're in an area where there's a lot of tear downs, you might have some problems if Jerry's saying 25, 30K to like clear out that lot. And if the houses are only worth 150K, you have a problem. Because
there's a lot of markets like that. Detroit's like that. There's just no value in it. Yeah. It's worth 10 grand and it's going to cost you 25 to tear the house down,
Yep. That's it. How do you deal? I haven't heard this one in a while, so I had to grab it. Obas says, how do you deal with option fees, Jerry?
What I think this is referring to is it North Carolina or South Carolina? There's a couple states where in your on-market contracts, they have a non-refundable option fee just to submit the offer. I bet you that's what because I get this question a lot because I talk about agents. And usually it's like $150, and it's not an inspection. It's not a earnest money deposit. They call it an option fee. And again, it's usually pretty low and you don't get it back. And so like my response is always feel really good about your offer. Because if you're going to put $150 up that you might not get back, you better feel good about the deal or be willing to lose your $150. I don't know what else to tell you. If it's required by the agent on the contract and they don't waive it, your only options are pay it or don't pay it. I don't know what, that's the only thing you can do. Pay it or not pay it. See if they'll take it out. Now, if you ask the agent to take that out, you're communicating that you have very little confidence in your ability to perform because you're not willing to pledge the $150 that they want.
Yep. So the option fee is how is it different than earnest?
Usually there's the option fee and there's earnest money, but the earnest money is contingent upon it's refundable depending on contingencies.
Got it.
Whereas the option fee is not.
Got it. So you have to pay $100 just to get the contract.
Just to be able to write the offer and submit it. Yeah.
And option fee in Texas is $100 that Mason Lopez says. Interesting. And that's also in North Carolina. Why was that? Why do they have that? Just to keep looky-loos?
Well, I mean, they're trying
offers?
for this very reason. You're like, I don't know if I'm going to make an offer now because I got to pay $150. It sort of legitimizes offers because you got to be somewhat serious to make the offer. Now from a seller's perspective, it's kind of a great idea. Like, you know what I mean? Like, imagine you're the seller. How many, I'm a seller all the time. You know how many crap offers I get that waste my time?
Yep. Would you ever touch a $20 to $40 million flip, Jerry?
Someday, you got to work up to that. That's not just something you do,
Would you do that in residential?
I mean, your buyer is going to be a worldwide buyer, and that's pretty high risk. I don't think so. The way I look at it, here's how I look at it. If I'm going to do luxury, there needs to be a market for it. So that's why I moved to Phoenix, because I wanted to branch out of the $1 million price point. And back in when I moved to Phoenix was 2018, in Scottsdale, there was a very strong $3 million, $4 million, $3 to $5 million market, meaning there's a lot of second home buyers paying $3 to $5 million. There's comps, there's neighborhoods, it's going on. It's not like an isolated thing. If you're trying to sell a $20 to $40 million home, you're probably a super rare exception to the market. It's not like you got 20 comps that are going to justify a $40 million sale, right? So now what are you doing? You're really taking a huge risk that you're going to find that buyer, So it's I don't know. It's a pretty tough model to do well at.
Yep. Declaration home buyers. I got a probate lead that is having a house showing with all the investors that has called him. Is it worth going to? Thoughts?
A probate lead that's having a house showing with all the investors that have. I mean, yeah, he's just doing an open house for his cash buyers.
No, I think it's the I think it's the whoever inherited the house is having all the investors come over to highest and best them.
I mean, dude, you're going to network with other people. You're going to meet other investors. I'd be talking to everybody there. And then, like anything, figure out your number, make your offer, and see where you land. I mean, yeah, you got to do that very thing 10 times a day, and you're doing deals every week.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, people will do business. People will take less on a property if they trust you more. And that's an interesting, and to really build real concrete trust. I always find that meeting them, face to face and in person, you just get so much more with body language. Now, if they're the type, hey, everybody come over, I'm not going to talk to any of you guys, stay away from me, blah, 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 blah. Great. Go chat it up with your buddies. Go chat it up with the other guys making offers. Who cares? Who cares on who gets this deal? It's a conveyor belt of opportunities out there. There's never going to be a shortage of ugly houses that need complete renovation. So if you put your best foot forward, and have fun with it. See if you can crack the uncrackable seller and see if they'll smile and laugh with you and talk to you. Maybe they won't. Maybe they're going to be standoffish, but see what you can do.
I would go to that. Honestly, I would go to that just to network with the other investors. And if you end up getting the deal, bonus, but you're going to be at an open house with other investors. What a great place to meet cool people.
Yep. Leonardo Reyes, great name. For people getting out of high school, what marketing startup would you recommend for wholesale?
Well, whether you're getting out of high school or you're, 75, it's all about your marketing budget and what you're able to do. In the beginning, we do what we're able to do more than what we want to do. When I first started, I would have loved to do, TV, radio, billboards, and but I just couldn't. So I had restrictions. If you're getting out of high school, you need to be doing free and really low cost marketing strategies to get some traction, get some transactions, get some money coming in, and then reinvest and grow into, the higher intent, better lead marketing. And again, that's kind of everybody. So I kind of feel like, honestly, if you're getting out of high school, maybe the best thing to do would be join a team that's already established and doing well, learn the ropes, get in a commission position, do that kind of thing. Yeah, I love this breakdown, Brent.
Yeah, listen, when you're starting out, if you're, there's different tiers to your marketing budget, but if you're between that 0 and 2,000, it's hustle season. It's getting out there. It's building relationships. It's posting every single day to your Facebook and Instagram stories. I buy houses. Send me your deals. It is making the calls to the ugly houses. It is talking to real estate agents. It's making offers on properties that are
driving for dollars.
All of those things. It's pulling lists from propwire.com.
Yeah.
It's going after those properties that need significant investment, right? And so that's what you're doing. But I was in this position for a long time. I stayed at that bottom level for years, guys, years and years and years, because I wanted to keep all of the profits, because I had a ton of debt to get out of. And I was so worried of losing it again that I was just like, oh my gosh, I got to keep it all and keep it all and keep it all. It's the most profitable area that you're ever going to be, is that first step from an ROI standpoint. But as you start getting up, then all of a sudden people start calling you to buy their house. Then you're getting inbound leads. Now this is Facebook ads. This is direct mail. This is billboards and paper lead and pay-per-click and SEO and all of these other ways to get deals where people are starting to call you, and it just ramps up from there. And usually, and Jerry has a great video on this, you'll usually see that once you get over 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 a month in your marketing budget, you have one main source. You have one main marketing channel that is your bread and butter, which is really, really, really cool. But when you're just starting out, Leonardo, you need to talk to people. Talk to people. Now, if you're in Texas, call real estate agents. You want to get confidence in this business? Go talk to an old agent that's been doing real estate for 67 years. You know what I mean? Go have those conversations.
Or pull the list and go knock the door. You know what I mean? You got to do other things. So again, I saw some more comments in this. Can I have a sign on my car? Guys, this is a phone solicitation law, and they added texting in there. If you're calling or texting, that's where that Texas law applies. Door knocking doesn't count for that. And any type of other inbound marketing, none of that counts. It's just call and text that we're talking about there. So, get creative around that. Definitely.
Yep. All right, let me get you another one here while I'm loading up. You guys are giving us some great questions. Here's a good one here, Jerry. Eli Madden says, did a walkthrough today. Need to come down on my price, 18 to 20K, due to the condition of the interior. Recommended approach to the homeowner. How do I get that price down, Jerry?
I just did one of those for a student because the student was too scared to do it. So I said, I'll do it. Let's get him on the phone and I'll do it. And I told the student before, and I said, okay, just so you know, this is going to be awkward. It's going to be uncomfortable. They're going to be upset, and we're going to do it anyway. You know what I mean? And yeah. I did it, and it was awkward and uncomfortable, and it sucked, and they were mad, but they came down and we got the deal and did a $12,500 assignment. Right. So no one likes to be in that position. The worst thing you can do is have to renegotiate with a seller or agent. It sucks. It just sucks. Do the extra work to go in at a good number so you don't have to do that. But when it happens, and it does happen, the best thing I found is I need to come armed with good information. I need to have a legitimate reason. If they feel like you're just trying to beat them up, it's not going to go down and they're going to say no and get out of here. But if you come back to them and you've got a legitimate reason, like in this case, you come back and you say, look, I spent the time, I got the bids, I talked to my contractors and my partners and my investors, and I was off. And it's going to cost me $20,000 more than I thought it was going to. And here's why. I didn't know it needed give reasons. I didn't know this and that. And look, I'm really sorry. I would still like to buy. I can still perform on the contract on time. If you're willing to amend the price down 20 grand, you know what? I'll do this. I'll go hard on earnest money. I'll increase it. Give them something. I always try to give them something. So in this case, I did with the student. I said, look, and I had my buyer already. So that was the other thing. I did not do this if I don't have my buyer. I had my buyer locked in, but the buyer was locked in at my contract price. So I went back and renegotiated it down. I went 17 down. So I went to 70. They were at 85. So 50, I guess I went 15 down. And then they came up to 75, and I got my buyer at 87.5. right? You follow me? So I went a little lower than where I wanted to because I figured they would probably counter if anything. But I got it done. But guys, it sucked. Like, it was not my favorite thing to do for the day, right? But you just got to have that heart to heart with that seller and tell them what's going on and be ready for them to be upset and not renegotiate and move on and you lose the deal. Like, be ready for it.
Yep. Jerry, can you help Danny out? Is there a way that you could just do a step-by-step video for him on how to be compliant in Texas?
I did too. I walk it through. I walked through the steps. You got this, man. Oh, you mean how to process bonds, pay fees, register? I mean, it's super easy. There's a form you got to fill out with the Secretary of State, a bond. Danny.
It's called don't have learned helplessness, bro. You will never make it in this business if you have learned helplessness. Like, just go figure it out. Like, this is a Chat GPT search away.
Easy.
This is a Google search away. Just get don't do that. Right. Don't be in the spot where you're like, hey, I need you to do it.
Give me the form.
He gave you everything in this thing. Just Google it and it's right there. If you can't answer it in a Google, then come back to us and we'll talk about it. But most things, guys, in life can be solved with a 5-minute Google search. All right. Most things in life can be mastered with 20 to 40 hours of YouTube learning. You know what I mean? Like, truly, truly, truly. And then going out and practicing that. But to have Jerry go, and this is the site to go to, and this is the thing, and this is I mean, you could do it if you want, Jerry, but I'm just telling you, it's a huge filter when people go, oh, got it, gonna go take care of it. Right.
And it's not hard. You just there's like 5 things you got to do. You just got to go do it and you'll be compliant.
Yep. Here we go. Jose asked, what do I do with the property in pre-foreclosure with the owners deceased? How do I find the heirs? This is a great question, Jose. And this happens. I mean, you'll see this happen with, I mean, not very often. I mean, obviously, if they're not making the payment and it's vacant, it's just going to go to the auction. Oftentimes people are using Skip Genie. That's kind of the first line of defense to be able to find some relatives. There's another site, maybe you know what it is, Jerry, that shows you all the connections. But if you really want to get gangster with it, I would pay $150 to a private investigator, and they can pull it up in about 3 minutes, and they can give you a full report, and it's awesome. Right. Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have to do kind of like the same thing you just said. You're going to have to do a little investigative work, a little digging, and figure out who the heirs are and reach out to the heirs. I mean, maybe it went through probate already. I don't, like, you just got to dig in.
Also, if it did go through probate, there's probably new people on title there. And if it hasn't, I would say oftentimes they haven't been through probate. I highly suggest that you do not go and do the whole probate for them. Have them hire their own attorney to do the probate and then make the offer on it. If you get this all, combined and you're doing all the paperwork and you're running them through all these things, it could be real tricky, right? I would have an attorney do that for them. And then if they decide to sell to you, great. If they don't, move on. You got to be real careful with like the package that you do on these deals and how much I don't know, kind of like lawyer work or attorney work you try to do for them. Just have them that's what they're there for.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Nick, I have 3 deals closing this month for a total of $50K. Where would you put your money, Jerry?
That's a good question. I look at 3 things where you want to reinvest in your business. One would be better tools. One would be more marketing. And another one would be high-level coaching. Those 3 things are where I'm always reinvesting my money in business. Better coaching so I can get better as a leader, learn more things. Always putting money into more marketing or better marketing. Be very strategic about that. But the right kind of marketing. And then there's always tools that can help you run the business better that are well worth the investment there. So what would you say, Brent?
Yeah, I love that. I love paying for time. and experience, and that happens with a coach or a mentor. I think there's nuance to it, but a coach gets you to where you want to go faster. I believe a mentor is more somebody that you want to be like, and both work. It just depends on where you're at in your business. I always thought that a coach, when you're initially going, that's going to really get you going, keep you accountable, and provide a great opportunity to be around great people is what always attracted me. But everybody's different. Obviously we have coaching programs, so it's a little bit a little bit hyping ourselves up, but you can find incredible local coaches. You can find incredible people all throughout the country. If it feels good in your gut with somebody, go with them. I think you gotta look at it and go, okay, what did I do to get this 50,000? What did I do to close these 3 deals? And can I put more capital into that? Yeah. Right? Like, think about it, guys. Everybody's like, where's the best place to invest your money? Where's the best place to invest your money? It's called marketing. Okay. There's no the answer to how big is your marketing budget should be unlimited. Okay. Because if you're really good and you know what to do when these leads come in to convert them into opportunities, then it's unlimited upside. If I give you, if I put $1 in and get $3 out, $4 out, $15 out, I would be a psychopath to not pour more dollars into that. The reason people screw around is because they put way more money into the marketing machine before their systems and processes are in place to be able to handle it. And then everything gets clogged up and they have bad months. And remember this, guys, this is one of the most difficult lessons to learn in real estate. Number one is 70% of your income is going to happen in 6 months. In 6 months out of the year, 70%. The other 30% is in the other 6 months. That's how real estate works out. You can go back and look at all your deals and go do the numbers. Watch those. Like, it's really close. The best I've ever gotten is 65-35, guys. The best. It comes in spurts. And so we need to have dry powder. You got to have money in your account sitting there. You should have an uncomfortable amount of money sitting in there so that you can weather the tougher times and ball out during when you're having great months. And so, Nick, that's what I suggest. Remember that, guys. Just keep it in your mind. 70% of your income comes in your top 6 months of the year. You do that and you're going to be in really good shape. But people don't know that. And so it'll hit you in the face when you go and you spend, Nick, 15, 20. There will be people that are going to try to get 25, 30 grand out of you. No doubt, for leads, for different marketing channels, for masterminds, for coaching, for the next whiz bang technology, whatever it is, Nick. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I would just caution against that. I would caution against that. Keep a bunch of that money and keep doing what you're doing. All right. Eugene asked an interesting question in South Carolina here, Jerry. Mm-hmm. With South Carolina takedown deals, could I assign rights to a partner that assists in the funding? We would still own the deal, say 80-20. Thank you all for your expertise.
Yeah, you what you'd have to do there is, I mean, you could set up an LLC and then your operating agreement spells out those partnership splits. But if the partner is going to fund it and buy it, how are you taking title with that partner? Do you have some sort of a JV agreement or whatever? You just want to be careful how you structure that. But certainly, you could definitely do that. Partner with somebody, they take it down, you resell it, split profits on the resale. Totally.
Yeah, this is great. Intellius, that's the other one that you can find heirs. Thank you. Who said that? I think Jiu-Jitsu did. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. Intellius is a really good one. That's a great resource to go back to that. Interesting question here from Amanda. Amanda just popped in. What's the best way to approach probate attorneys to get consistent leads from them? I'm a real estate broker and also wholesale, Jerry.
Well, I mean, you could offer to list their properties. I mean, I have a probate attorney in Detroit where I've done maybe like 20 deals with, and they have like an exclusive right to list all of the probate deals for a couple attorneys that they work for, so that are able to somehow land that deal where they got the listings, and then she brings them to me in double dips, so she gets both sides if I buy them. So it's a consistent lead source. So you could go to those probate attorneys and say, look, I wear two hats. I have a real estate license and I act as a broker. I also am a real estate investor. Every deal you get, I could give you two ideas. I could give you a cash offer, see if that works and goes through, or I could list it for you on the open market and get you a higher price. Either way, you're winning, it sounds like, if you do both those things. So, you just got to have those conversations and land that deal. Sell yourself and your services and your benefit to those probate attorneys and see if they'll give you a swing at the bat.
Yeah, Amanda, the only time I've had probate attorneys that would call out of the blue is you send them a bunch of business. You just send them a tremendous amount of business, and it's up to the property owners on who they use. We'll just put out a few recommendations and whoever they go with, they go with. That's usually you gotta juice them up a little bit first. You know what I mean? You gotta put some cheddar in their account, so to speak. You know what I mean? If people still call money cheddar, I like it, and I'm going to, and it's never going to die in my mind. But yeah, you get them some opportunities, get them some business, and they'll return it. They'll reciprocate. I really like this question here from Nathaniel. Are there better virtual markets than others? Can you give me some examples?
Well, I mean, certainly if you're virtual now, you definitely want to be paying attention to some of the regulations that might require a license, because you would have to be licensed in the state where you transact. So there are definitely easier places to go, but also keep in mind, the easier it is to do something, the more people do it and the more competition you have. So I don't know that that's always the way you want to look at things. I'm really excited about our below national median home price markets. I like the sleepy markets. I like the Wichitas. I like the Topeka, Kansas. I like the, Louisville, Kentucky, and Tulsa, Oklahoma. I like those kind of smaller, homes are selling for 300,000 or lower. National median at 450 or whatever it is. Those markets are going to, now I would stay away from low income. I'm not calling that. So I would stay out of the city of Detroit or Flint or, the ghettos, because those never go up in value. It's really funny, Brent. My first house ever, 26 years ago, when I first married, was right on the border of Flint, Michigan and Burton. Okay. And I bought this house for $88,000. 26 years ago, I looked up the Zillow. The Zillow's 95. In 26 years, it hasn't appreciated at all. And it never will. And in 50 years from now, it'll still be worth 95, Yep. So like some markets just don't have any growth ever. Or if they do go up, they come right back down just as hard. But we do have some markets where, like, I was just in Tulsa, Oklahoma last week, and they're building a city. They're it's booming, it's growing. And I walked the flip with one of our buyers, and it's like, dude, this is a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, nice 2-car garage, quiet little neighborhood. I'm like, what's the ARV on this? He's like, 225. Like, holy crap, this would be 600 in Phoenix. You know what I mean? So like those markets are going to have tremendous opportunity.
Yeah. I like the markets where obviously you don't need a real estate license to assign deals. And if you're going to do virtual, you got to be under 300,000. Jerry hit it perfect. I was going to say 350, but I think you're even, I think you're right on the money at 300 or lower. That's the price point. I'm telling you guys, once you go above that price point, we do a lot of marketing across. We spend over $1 million a month in just Google ads across the country. And I am telling you, if the property is worth more than $350 and you're trying to do it virtually, you get beaten like a drum. It is really difficult to do those. All right. You need to get face to face. You need to be in person. You need boots on the ground if you're going to go over 350,000. So the best, there's a ton of great Midwest markets. Mm-hmm. Holy cow. There's a ton of great Midwest markets. I mean, just follow
Indianapolis, all those markets. Those are great. Memphis, Tennessee. Like, dude, there's so many great little markets like that.
Yeah. And just go on RJ Bates, his YouTube channel, and just watch him live call these. He's getting PPL leads in. He's doing it all virtually over the phone. That's the areas that you want to be in. Those are the areas that you definitely want to be in. Scott asked, do you ever ask questions to your sales rep? Like, how much do you want to make when you're hiring acquisition managers, Jerry?
Oh, all the time. Like, tell me where you want to be and let me show you a path to get there. You know, I found that like with high powered people, especially commission sales people, if I can show them how to make 200 to 250 a year and show them a clear path to get there, man, that's gold right there. Like, they're going to be excited about working for you. So yeah, I love that. You know, and if they tell me 50 grand a year, I'm like, yeah, you're thinking way too small. You know, like, so I think that's fine.
Yeah, you almost don't even need to ask them because they tell you what their current. Here's the key to it, Scott. Only hire people that already have jobs. All right. If you're hiring an out of work salesperson, that will be the worst mistake that you make in your business.
Because you're only out of business because you don't want to work. You're not working because you don't want to work. You know.
That's it. If you're a salesperson and you haven't been in a job, you know, listen, maybe a company goes under or something and you've been there a while. There's a little nuance, but not much. If you don't have a job and you're a salesperson, you're not very good at that job. You're not. That's it, right?
I mean, I think that Brent, about any job. If you don't have a job, it's because you don't want to work.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. You don't want to work.
And how to know if a lot is a good deal. I made my first offer today, but nervous. It wasn't a good offer.
Well, I mean, like anything, you want to comp it against other similar lots in the area, you know, follow some of those rules right there. You know, I like to look, is there activity here? Who's buying these lots? You know, you have different kinds of lots. You have infill lots that are in high growth areas. Those are going to be great for spec investors. I do that. I like that model. You have recreational lots where people like to buy on the outskirts and, you know, RV there or ride their four-wheeler there, whatever. They're like for entertainment. You have that happening. And then you have the land bankers, I call them, or like the outskirts. Like, hey, I'm going to buy this 20-acre parcel because someday Walmart's going to come into town and I'll sell it for millions. And so they just park their money there, you know, and all of those are opportunities. It's just, where do you want to focus on? And are you able to look at the land deal, the subject property, and know what to look for? See, my favorite type of land deals are where you're going to build a house and sell it. So I like high activity markets. It's easy. Do a search for new construction in the past 2 years. Is there a bunch of sales? Are there stuff active? Is stuff selling? If there is, then that means there's investors buying infill lots. An infill lot is basically just a lot in an existing area that someone could buy and, you know, get plans and build a house up on it and sell it. Right. So like, I like infill lots. I think that's a great strategy because it's easy to get your head around it in the right markets. You can understand the value. You can find a buyer for it. You know, like that's a great way to do land.
Yeah. And Joel asked, so what's the talk about land lately? Heard there are huge profits in doing land deals, whether dispo or acquisitions. What's more popular, infill or raw? Definitely infill. I mean, the price points are much higher. Now, what I will tell you is this: raw land in the middle of nowhere, you can get absolutely for free. People will literally give you these empty lots in the middle of nowhere if you pay the back taxes. All right. You can get certain resources. I don't know if you have it on PropWire,
We do.
the tax default, vacant land tax default in the middle of nowhere. Send them a letter. And there's a ton of different ones that you can download online that'll tell you what to send and what to say to these people. But essentially, you're trying to make an offer on their vacant land. They're not paying property taxes on it, and you would be shocked if they just give you the land or say, "Hey, listen, you give me a little bit for this, $1,000, $2,000." It depends, right? And you could go and sell it and make a couple $100. It's not a huge profits on those, but it is an exciting business. Yeah. I'll tell you what, Jerry, we sent out in like 2018, I don't know, a couple thousand letters. The response rate on those letters is like nothing else you've ever sent out in real estate.
Oh yeah.
It is banana. Absolutely banana. What's this? Get paid $8,700 to find vacant lot for you?
Yeah, we have a lot program. Now, these are infill lots, but we'll buy those lots and pay you. It's a finder program that we have. I've had it for a long time. But and when you go to that, you'll register for training, but we'll teach you like these are the type of infill lots we're looking for. They need to be in areas where they're building. And there's a formula that we follow and all of that. So if you guys are really into land, if you're in my land program, I could be a buyer for you on specific types of lot deals. But I think land's great. You know what's great about land too right now, Brent, like with all this regulation, is it doesn't apply to land. This is just a consumer thing. All of it is. So any of these laws around wholesaling don't apply to vacant land. So,
really?
You know,
it's just residential and commercial?
Residential, not even commercial. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, there you go. Yeah, really interesting. So I just had, by the way, guys, the templates for the letters for buying raw land out there, you can download them anywhere. Google it, go on YouTube after this and go check it out. You can get that for sure. I had a realtor decline my offer solely because it stated my LLC and or a sign on it. Deal wasn't big enough to double close. Is there a workaround that and or a sign lingo?
Yeah. So here's my take on this. If your contract does not have a no assignment clause, that contract is assignable. All contracts are assignable unless stated otherwise. So you don't need and or assigned on your contract unless you're trying to supersede some other language in there that says you can't. And even then you would have to address wherever it says that. So like when you put and or assigns, you're red flagging sellers and agents that you're a wholesaler. And why are you unnecessarily doing that? So you don't need to have that in there. Now, I'm not saying don't disclose what you're doing. Definitely be transparent and disclose, but people are trying to put that in there. And the reason why that's in there is in the event that you change your LLC to another one, we use it so that we can assign our contracts to other entities, right? So like get clear on what you're doing there. And if you need that, and more importantly, like, why is this an issue? What is the agent? Does the agent not want you doing a wholesale, or like, why is this a problem? It shouldn't even be a problem, but why is it? And what did you do to create that problem? You should have set better expectations with that agent about what you're doing also, right? With this. Yeah.
And there's a lack of confidence that the agent has, right? Something's happened, right?
Yeah.
Something's happened in the past, or, you know, they went to a brokerage meeting and the broker went up there and said, if it says anything on and or assigns, I reject it. It's a scam. They're just trying to tie up deals for whatever reason and try to sell them before they close it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And jujitsu, this is how I would say it. I would say to the agent, watch me say I'm going to wholesale without saying I'm going to wholesale. I'd say this to the agent. I say, look, I'm not sure yet which entity I want to close in because we have multiple exit strategies. Maybe we keep it. Maybe we flip it. I also work with a lot of other investors and partners. Maybe we end up putting this in one of my partners' entities. I need the flexibility in the contract to change the buyer by the end of the contract by closing. I need that flexibility. What do we need to do so that I have the flexibility? But rest assured, agent, seller's going to get everything we talked about. I'm going to still keep all the other terms of the contract. I just need the ability to change who the buyer is going to be. Now, what did I just do? I just explained wholesaling without saying wholesaling.
Boom. Kashan, prior experience as an acquisition specialist looking to start closing my own deals in Virginia and North Carolina. Congratulations, Kashan. Depending on House Bill 797, any advice? What is House Bill 797?
So
Jerry?
That's the North Carolina bill, which, by the way, I saw this comment and I checked. It's still stuck. It's stuck right now. That bill is one of the worst bills yet for wholesaling. It passed the House on April 30th.
Yep.
And nothing. So it's the next step would be the Senate. And then once it passes Senate, it most likely gets signed into law. I hope that I'm hoping it got shot down at the Senate level or whatever. It's a horrible, horrible law. So far, good news is it's not going anywhere. You know, it could pass tomorrow and here we are, but so far it hasn't.
What happens if it passes?
It's more of the same. Sellers can back out of contracts. You know, wholesaling's pretty much anything. It's just really poorly written and would be really bad. It's very similar to Pennsylvania where sellers can cancel contracts.
Got it. And any advice to someone with quite a bit of experience in acquisitions, but less in dispo?
I mean, if you're good at acquisition, dispos should be easy. It's just sales, So what is that? What do you think they're meaning by that, Brent?
Well, I totally understand what Sean's saying here, because I was terrible at dispo, great at acquisition, terrible at dispo, because it was all my buddies. They're like, hey, let me buy this deal. And I was like, hey, okay. They're like, yeah, why don't you give us like $3-5 grand off? Right. And then they'd go and assign it for 25 grand on top of it, type of thing. It's like, oh my gosh, what is happening here? So I completely get it. I would find a Keegley. I would find some other resource, maybe somebody that's just got a really solid list that really focuses on selling other deals. And I would say, hey, listen, I'll give you a flat fee for selling this. I'm not going to split the deal with you a 1,000,000%, but I'll give you $2 grand if you sell it, after you sell it, type of thing. You can do some deals like that, or 2,500 or whatever it's worth to them. Maybe it's not worth that to them, but you can go into in the investor groups and say, hey, listen, I need somebody that has a great list and will help me dispo this property. Please DM me, and boom, you'll get blown up. All right. Get him, Kashan. Are you guys both, great question, flipping real estate? How do you not have that handle, Jerry? Oh, yours is Flipping Genius. He must have had this before. You typed it in and it's like no longer available. Anyway, are you guys both doing cold calling in your businesses?
We do some. It's not a huge part of our business. It used to be a lot more, only because I can spend more on the marketing so that I'll do more inbound type marketing, less outbound. But we do quite a bit of cold calling. I shouldn't say quite a bit. We do some cold calling, and more than anything, I do it just to stay relevant, make sure I got my head around that model. So we throw some at it, but it's not a huge part of our business. But if you're looking for that low cost model to generate leads, cold calling can be an awesome business model in those early phases, like Brent explained, because it's very low cost. It's very inexpensive. Now, I am a very big advocate that you, the wholesaler, don't do the cold calling, because you can easily outsource that to an agency for very inexpensive. Like, it doesn't cost that much to get a cold caller to do those calls. And now you're just taking the warm leads they generate. That's a better use of time. But, I know a lot of wholesalers, Brent, that they're on the phones calling the list. And I'm thinking to myself, that's $6 an hour work you're doing, dude. Like, surely you can figure out how to get some budget to get a caller for you, and you'll just grow so much faster.
Yep. Yeah. I'm not, we did it for years and decided to move it all. So the issue that we had flipping real estate is not the issue we had in flipping real estate. That's the person's name, if you're just listening to this on the podcast. Was the timeline. It's usually 90 to 120 days before that deal gets closed. When I was putting money in, and I still am putting it into pay-per-click, Google ads, we get that back in 28 days. And so the way less amount of leads and way higher quality. And they're reaching out to us because it's an intent-based lead, which is really,
and bigger
really,
assignment
really
fees.
They're just great deals. Just absolutely phenomenal deals. So my team was just getting burnt out of going through all these leads and having to do, 70 leads of lead follow-up to do one deal, as opposed to, 10 to 15 leads with pay-per-click. So
we have a cold call guy on our team, Brent, and I'm not kidding. He nurtures these leads for 4 to 6 months. It feels like.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And then he brings them. He doesn't bring them until they're literally ready to sign. So they're great when we finally get them. But my deal with him is like, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to know about it. Don't bring it to me unless you've nurtured them along to they're ready to sign. We'll meet, we'll sign, but not until then. And so when we finally get one to the table, he's literally nurtured it for 4 to 6 months.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's months and months and months. Lotte Stone Consultants says ARV on this deal 435, Jerry. Renovation 100,000. First time I read this, I was like, oh, it's in Reno.
That's what I thought too.
Right. So renovation 100,000. Trying to put 80K in the owner's pocket. They have 120K left on the mortgage. Okay, so that's 200,000. So he's making an offer of 200,000. It needs 100,000. ARV's 435. Trying to figure out the best exit strategy. Corrective criticism welcome, please and thank you.
I mean, you're okay. So like, here's how I'm looking at it. You know, if you want to be at a 70% ARV, which is could be right, could be wrong, but that's industry standard. So let's just follow the rules. 435 at 70% puts you at 3 or 4 minus 100 on reno, puts a buyer at around 200. So a buyer would like to be around 200. Maybe they'll be at 210, maybe 190, but call it 200. You gotta back out their mortgage of 120. That leaves 84 net without closing costs, commissions, or a wholesale fee. So if you're trying to put 80 in the owner's pocket, you could get that done, but you're gonna be real tight. And there's no, so I don't know if you're wholesaling that or if you're buying it for yourself or whatever. But a flipper would probably buy that for around 200 if it needs 100 in work.
Yeah, and listen, flip it. Flip it. Would you do anything creative here, Jerry, with $100,000 worth of work?
I mean, you could try, I guess. And what you'd have to do is sub to the 120, bring them 80 in cash and blah, blah, blah. But like, I don't know, that oftentimes that's more of a headache than anything else.
This is an interesting question. Dowdrick asks, how would you close a pre-foreclosure on Subto strategy when they think it's fraud and illegal or what they want to unrealistically keep their home? Unrealistically keep their home.
I mean,
sounds
when
like
someone
a
thinks,
lead.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. When someone thinks what you're telling them is fraud and illegal, I don't know what you're going to say to convince them otherwise. You know, you can try, but like that's usually not a very motivated lead.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to let them see what happens. You know what I mean? Right. Like do a loan modification if they can. You know what I mean? See if the bank will work with them. Though that's 90% of pre-foreclosures, by the way. 90%. And listen, Jerry, I heard today that Attorney General in Arizona, the president, or I don't know if it's president, whoever runs the commissioner, the real estate commissioner, and somebody else, some other protection agency is really, really, really going to crack down on anybody going after pre-foreclosures in Arizona. They really, really, really think that it is a protected class. And and you know it, Jerry, there's the scammers here that they go, hey, we'll help you out with this pre-foreclosure, and then they sneak in the deed and steal people's houses. Right.
Well, that was that lawsuit. That was that lawsuit with the Attorney General and the Cameron Jones group. You know,
there's another one came out 2 weeks. Same strategy.
Okay.
Same strategy.
Yeah.
The guy did it like 150 times, Jerry.
Yeah. So that's the new hot button to go after is pre-foreclosure. And we've talked about this, like all of this, it's distressed sellers are becoming a protected class.
Yep.
Is what the movement is with all of this.
Yep. Let's look
That's
at this.
going to change a lot of things. Like, so no more door knocking pre-foreclosures, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just not worth it now. There.
Well,
at least
I just think I mean, 90% of them do loan modifications. Like there's so many ugly, empty houses out there. It's unlimited. There's unlimited amount of ugly, empty houses out there that you get the right investor or yourself get in there and completely clean that up and put that investment into it and make that house look great. And some new family moves into it. It's the best. It's the best. You know what I mean? There's so many other opportunities. Armis, can you wholesale tax? I don't even know this, Jerry. Can you wholesale tax lien or deeds? I don't even know how I think you have to own them, right?
I mean, I don't know if you can contract it and create a contract, you can assign a contract, but I don't know. I've never done that.
Yeah. How do you put a contract on a tax lien?
A contract to buy a lien maybe, or buy a deed. But
I mean, I guess that'd be
usually not the play. Yeah.
That would be creative for sure. Oh man, that's wild. Any advice on purchasing HUD-owned homes in Washington State Addendum switching buyer at closing. They won't let you.
No, you can't do that. I mean, HUD is federal owned, and they have the non-owner occupant rights for the first, 30 days or something. And you don't want to mess with that. Like, I knew an investor once that was buying HUD homes claiming to be an owner occupant. And dude, what are you doing? Like, why would you do that? So
yeah,
I don't think you want to switch the buyer at closing.
Can you give a little bit more clarification on the whole land being excluded from regulations?
Yeah. I mean, guys, this is for homeowners. Okay. Homeowners. All these laws are for the consumer, protecting the consumer. Consumer meaning your little old lady grandma in a house, right? If you're a landowner, it's a non-owner occupant investment property or whatever. That's not really what these laws are for. Now, be careful, because maybe you solicit somebody that owns a piece of land and they still sue you around it or whatever. But like, that's not what these laws are written for. Are vacant land owners. They're written just like commercial property is excluded from this. It's consumer protection laws.
Love it. Jolene asks, Brent and Jerry. That's a cool.
Brent
and Jerry. Do you think, by the way, Jolene, I get it. People have called me worse. Do you think we actually have a housing shortage? Felt like it in 2021 and 22, but sales are so slow now. Yes, I know mortgage rates affect sales. I question it. We have a housing shortage.
That's actually not totally true. It might feel like it for you in your market, but I was just reading stats on like the 10 fastest appreciating markets and the 10 slow, declining markets. And there are a lot of markets that are slow, declining big time. And there are a lot of markets that are appreciating fairly well, like 5-6% year over year from last year. And, days on market are low and all the things. Inventory is good. So this is a very market specific thing. Overall, I think the sentiment in the market is we're slow. And I mean, my honest opinion is it's probably going to stay that way until interest rates drop down to mid 5s. And then we'll see things pick up, because why is someone going to sell out of their 3 and 4% rate to get into a 6.5-7% rate? So it's creating a jam up because of that.
Yeah, it's interesting. In Maricopa County here, Jerry, we have about 32 to 34,000 active and coming soon listings coming on the market, and about 7,000, 8,000 selling a month. So it's just over 4 months of inventory. And that's pretty normal. Really, really fast markets, it's less than a month and a half, less than 2 months of inventory. And really slow. Like the worst market I saw back when things really crashed, there was like 90,000 homes on the market and only like 5,000 selling a month, which is pretty wild. But guys, you need to understand the inventory. You can literally have the title company send it to you every single month. They have these market reports they love sending it out. They probably spent like $20 million buying some company that gives out market reports or something ridiculous, right? That you could pull in 2 seconds off of realtor.com. But you can just sign up for the title company or closing attorneys maybe and get those market reports. And what you want to look for is inventory going up or is it going down? If inventory is building and building and building, takes longer to sell homes, which means that your flippers and yourself, if you are flipping, need to be more conservative and are more conservative. That means that your numbers change. And so do I think that there's a housing shortage? I don't know. I think Jerry's right in that. All I know is if you look at the census, there's 11 million empty single family empty properties, vacant properties, 11 million. There's 143 million residential properties. There's 11 million of them that nobody lives in them because Jerry owns half of them.
Yeah. Part of the problem, Brent, is we want to compare back to the COVID days when the market was gangbusters at 20-30% appreciation, And so now it's funny. I talk to people and they're like, oh, the market's so bad. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you have no idea what a bad market looks like. You think it's bad because it's slower. You can't just like buy something and sell it 6 months later and it's worth a whole bunch more just because, I call it the fundamentals. We're just in a fundamentals market. You got to buy right. You got to add value. You got to do the thing, or it's not going to sell and you're going to sit a long time. There's no shortcuts right now. It's just a normal market.
That's right. That's right. So, and that's why the amount of wholesalers went from 90,000 in 2021 to 12,000 now. This is the time. And obviously a lot of regulations came involved in there. A lot of interest rates changed in there. A lot of cash buyers adjusted there. 2021 was the height, and now it's been down ever since. It's beautiful when it goes back up, Jerry. It's beautiful when it starts going bananas and things start popping again. And I think if you're in a position and you follow the regulations and you get that real estate license, or you do that disclosure, or you work with the right, you close on the deals that you have to close on, you get those processes down. By the time it starts rebounding, that's when people make massive gains. Yeah. That's where people go from making $200,000-$300,000 a year to $2 to $3 million a year. You have a few of those years, you put it into assets, you pay your taxes, and you're going to be set. You're going to be set.
Yeah.
So
I learned this from you, Brent. You told me this a long time ago. The deal of a lifetime comes around how often?
Once a week.
If you're in the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just
that's
if you're on the sidelines, then it's a bad market. There's no deals, because you're on the sidelines. Get in the game, and you'll be surprised if you're active every day in the game. You're going to get good deals.
Yep. That's it. Awesome. Jerry, we went through all the questions. Really great. Thank you guys for spending the time with us here. You could be anywhere in the world, but you decided to be here. So thank you. Thank you for participating. Thank you for all the support that you guys are giving each other in the chat. It's absolutely incredible. This should feel like, a networking opportunity for you. And if you're not subscribed to Jerry's Flipping Mastery podcast or YouTube channel, make sure that you get subscribed to that. Make sure you check me out at Brent Daniels Real Estate on YouTube as well. We put our heart and soul into it. We really do. We love this business. We love real estate. We've made all the mistakes that you could possibly make. We have made them all. We have paid all the stupid tax for you. So we implore you to go check it out and get the right instruction that you need. And if you're interested in joining some of the communities or some of the coaching or courses or whatever else, Jerry's got a tremendous amount of them. I've got some at Wholesaling Inc. Jerry, you've got it at flippingmastery.com.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Awesome. Guys, definitely check that out. That's it. Jerry, anything new and exciting going on this week with you?
I'm pretty excited. Have you heard the name Steve Cook?
Yeah.
Okay. So Steve Cook is my very first coach or mentor, I guess, 20 years ago. And I didn't realize this, but he lives right here in Knoxville. And so I'm meeting up with him on Friday. And I'm pretty excited because I've stayed in touch with him over the years. He's a great guy. But we're gonna go film some stuff. I'm gonna meet with him. He's doing deals here too, like all kinds of stuff. So I'm pretty excited to kind of catch up with him. But that's this week. Other than that, just keeping at it, grinding away at the business.
Yep. Awesome.
One day at a
time. I will be going live at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on the Brent Daniels YouTube channel. So come join me on Wednesday. We try to do that every single Wednesday. And then I've got an action workshop for the Rhino Tribe where everybody comes into my office, Jerry. We got a great group coming in, and I get to introduce them to all my secret friends here. All my, like your what was his name? Stephen Cook.
Yeah.
Like my Brian Norris, my mentors that really shaped me that aren't really huge and on any kind of platform. I mean, a little bit here and there, and just different people that I get to introduce people to and just scale them up and change their lives. So it's really great. So love you guys. Thanks for participating, and we'll see you next week. See you, Jay.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
What are you doing?
I didn't say that thing.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Cool. I think we should use the one where Jamil doesn't say anything.